my brother Yoweri and Mama Janet Museveni, warm greetings and love. I'm the only one who can address him as Yoweri, the rest don't. I come here not to give a story, but to testify. And the centrality of it all is about giving Jesus glory. Forgiveness and reconciliation. But the theme is said the power of forgiveness and reconciliation. And it would be no better candidate to testify today other than yours faithfully, Chris Rwakasisi. Reconciliation is to restore or bring back to friendship, or to bring back into agreement. And this is an infrastructure of forgiveness. Forgiving without reconciliation is absolutely pointless. But let me hasten to say this. Forgiveness is not a favor. That you favor someone to forgive him. No, not at all. It's not a favor. As we have heard from the readings, Bible is an obligation. Bible is a command. Rather, forgiveness is a command. Forgiveness is the center of Christianity. Someone said that not forgiving is like drinking a poison, drinking poison, hoping and expecting that the enemy you hate will die. It is a terrible thing not to forgive. My testimony starts with the question is, who is this Rwakasisi? And who was he? Rwakasisi, for good or for bad, was a household name. I was hated as much as I was loved. And how did I come to this? It all started after elections of 1980. President Milton Obote had gone around with me throughout Uganda telling each and everyone who wanted to listen that I was to be his prime minister. Yeah. But then after elections, he sent a Tanzania People's Defense Force helicopter to collect me from my home, from Kabohe. And I came here, State House, and found him in the office. He told me, said, I had promised you to be Prime Minister, but now Paul Mwanga is campaigning for his friend Otemale Madi. So what do I do? I said, no, you do whatever you want. So he pulled out the list of the ministries that he had lined up and asked me to pick up one which I wanted. I said, no, I was not going to do that. He said, well, I want you to be in my office, but if I say that you are a minister without portfolio, Baganda would say, Minister Taina Murimu. And if I say you are minister for presidency, people will think you are there to run my errands. And yet if I say you are Minister of State, people will think you are a junior minister. So what do? I said, do anything you want, Your Excellency. And he coined the ministry, State Minister, Office of the President, not Minister of State, Office of the President, but State Minister, Office of the President, which brought me in the center of everything and literally made me his assistant. My office was opposite his. Every minute, the secretary would be coming. Honourable Minister, His Excellency wants you. Honourable Minister, now, before I sit down, His Excellency has come in my office. Your Excellency, Honourable, everybody honourable, secretaries honourable, everyone honourable, my sisters honourable. I forgot that my name was Rwakasisi. I thought I was honourable. And oh yes, I heard it, you mentioned it. My convoy was almost like the president's. You know, these days when I see these people who move with convoys, you know, pushing me from the road, well, you know, there is a story in Nyankole. There is the banana plantation. It has got leaves, you know, but there is this leaf, the first one, which is all complete, not torn. So when the wind was blowing, those who know those who know the language of the leaves, they heard it saying, "Nyewenda bambirichi, nyewenda bambirichi, nyewenda bambirichi." But then there was this akashansha, you know, the dry one which was just down. Said, "Nanye nkabye kangaho, nanye nkabye kangaho," you know. Oh yes. It was that. And in that one, I grew big and big and big and bigger. But of all things, I forgot God. You know, at times, my constituents will come and say, "Honourable Minister, can we go to church?" I say, well, when you go to church, you pray for the president and his cabinet, and I'm one of them. So you go and pray. I'm going for my farm. Finish, end of the story. But let me tell you, time came. Oh yes, time came. When I saw all these glories and powers, you know, all just breaking down like a house of cards. Oh yeah. A man who was saluted by generals, and now I was ordered by the privates. Ewewe, kachini. I would go down. Yeah. I'd go down, chuchuma chini. And there you go. Let me tell you, these people were in the bush. And I faithfully hunted them down. I can testify that there isn't a single minister, including ministers of defense or of internal affairs, who ever went to Luweero Triangle. None. Not even an army commander. But Rwakasisi. You will get there, Museveni has been here. You know, at one time, we had a colonel who was a brigade commander in that place. Now, he came to give a report to the president. And, of course, as usual, I was there. So he said, Yesterday, we had contact with Museveni. He was dressed in a kanzu, and he was the one commanding the army. So, but the boys tried to shoot, but he was just doing like this, getting all the bullets, putting them in the pocket. Putting them in the, and I looked at the colonel. I mean, so the president just looked at him, and then from there he stood up and said, Naomba kuendelea. The president said, you go ahead. He went out. I told the president, I said, if I was the president, this man would leave this room a private. Sometimes Museveni would be a pussycat, sometimes he would be a rat, at times he would be everything. But anyway, the short of it is that, yes, I looked for them. Even when they crossed to the west at Wenzori, I think I was late about 10 minutes when they crossed at Kasunga Nyanja. I had already arrived there. But when I reached Rubona, I put on field glasses and just looked at the shoulders of the mountain, and I saw them. They were cooking and all that. Fine. I went to Fort Potro. I had rested already. From there, I took Chenjojo Road. The brigade commander I had, he dared to come back through Rwakasisi. And did he survive? He didn't. The story is very long. I've told you that he was arrested with all honors and glories running down. But it's not NRM which arrested me. I was arrested by our own army. But of course, when NRM came and found me in the prison, I was just a prize for them. I remember there was a battalion 102 around Ruzira, and the boys would sing throughout all the night. Rwakasisi amba alijaribu akashindwa wo ko Ruzira amba. Hey, oh yeah, they sang. I mean, they sang through the night. At the end of it all, Rwakasisi was taken to court and charged with kidnap. I first was charged by that I either killed a woman called Nachejo in Kampala, but then that could not hold. Then they came up with the kidnap. Now, when we were in the court, they brought witnesses, of course, which I had never seen. But there was this famous one, Kopolo Katabazi. I remember him. He came and he told the judge, Onajua afande, huyo afande yangu alituma mimi tukwenda Mbarara leta gorira yangu na mimi nikapiga saluti nikasema ndio afande. And I saw the judge, nodding with his wig, said, yes, this is a very honest witness. I said, honestly. Rwakasisi talked to a corporal. Of all soldiers, that sent a corporal. But the judge said, yes, this is a truthful witness. Cutting the long story short, time came after 6 months of trial, and the judge had to give his judgment. So the judgment started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and he read through his judgment until 8:30 in the night. At 8:30, he removed his white wig and put on a black hood. He knocked the table, said, I'm going to pronounce a death sentence. The court stood up. And the prayer, I said, I did not hear much of it, but I caught the tail end when they said, may his soul rest in peace. And that was the end. I was taken to Ruzira. Now, from the Boma to condemn section on the death roll. And I was a very, very bitter man. very bitter. I hated two beings. One was God. I said, if you are God of mercy, if you are God of justice, how did you allow such a thing to obtain when you know that I'm innocent? He never answered me. Another person I hated was Museveni. That one I even had a spare hatred. We had known each other in our youth. When he came from Dar es Salaam, he was brought in my office. You know, I was his boss. So don't you worry. And we worked together. I loved him very much because he was very vibrant, fresh from university, full of theories. I think he had even gone through Karl Marx's Das Kapital. And we teamed up very well. But here was a coup. We separated. I will not go into that section very much. But let me go back to Israel. So my question was, this fellow, we were together. How can he treat me like this? Wherever he went, when the campaigns said, Rwakasisi killed my children. But I said, Natasha is there. Kainorugaba is there. Diana is there. Patience is there. Who did I kill? No. Rwakasisi killed my children. And I hated Museveni. After he was condemned, after 3 months, the OC called me in his office and said, I'm very sorry, but I've received orders from above to take you to isolation. Now, isolation, Luzira has got, it's a maximum security complex. There is what they call Boma. Then you have got condemn, where you keep the condemned prisoners. Then in condemn there is isolation. So that means I was to go in a prison of a prison in a prison. And yes, I went there. And my bitterness even increased now. But because in that place, you are not supposed to hear anything, you are not supposed to talk to anybody, and you are not supposed to see anybody anyway. That is isolation of condemned. They keep that section especially for, let us say, if a condemned prisoner kills another condemned prisoner, you cannot take him back to court because they cannot kill him twice. So what they do, they take them to isolation. And that is where I was supposed, no, that's where I was. And it was in that place when I had hated life and just prayed that if only I could die, it would serve me much better. And when I looked around, I saw something which looked like a brick. So I wanted to reach it and make it into a pillow, because there you are just thrown there. There is nothing. But when I touched it, it was soft. When I opened it, it was a Bible. Someone has maybe just forgotten that Bible. Good news. But that is the book I did not want anyway. So I made it into my pillow. But because I had nobody to talk to, because I had no one to see, I started reading it. I read it from Genesis to Revelation. Don't ask me what you read. My eyes were just reading letters, but my mind was not. I finished it and made it into a pillow. Because I had nobody to talk to, I started reading it the second time. This time I saw a very, very stupid book. There is a man called Abraham. He came from Ur, promised to go to the promised land. Then he overshot it, found himself in Egypt. But then the Bible says that the king of Egypt desired Sarah because she was very beautiful. And I said, Matthew, the Bible had said that Sarah was 90 years old. And I said, a king admiring a woman of 90 years? I think there must be something wrong. Carrying on, I go to the New Testament. I found this cantankerous woman called Mary Magdalene who used to invite herself at every party in town. But on this fateful day, she invited herself to a party where there was Jesus. And one gospel says she anointed his head. Another following gospel said she actually anointed his feet. I said, but couldn't these people edit this book to make sense? I continued to Revelation. From chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and part of 5. Yes, it's understandable. These are the letters to 7 churches and like. But after that, Revelation turns into a problem. Here is a pregnant woman running away with chased by a snake with 7 heads falling in water. I did not want to hit. Anyway, I finished it and made it into a pillow. But because I had nothing to do, I read it the 3rd time. And this time, God just removed the veil from my eyes. And I saw a different book. When I read John, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, from verse 11 down, he says, and he came unto his own, but his own received him not. But as many as received him, as many as believed in him, he gave them the authority to be called the children of God.